everyone and welcome back to another Batman Miniature Game 3rd edition battle report, and today we have 350 rep of the Court of Owls using their new objective deck for the second time on the channel versus 350 rep of the Joker using their classic very powerful objective deck. New table setup, new battle mat as well actually, and with that let's take a look at the teams and get things started here. So it's a slightly different Court of Owls list this time because it's being led by a sidekick, the drunkard High Court lady. She's just going to be sauntering around sipping on her wine, not doing particularly much, but she is the leader, and taking her as a cheap option, and as a, well, sidekicks can be leaders if there's no leaders, means that you free up points to perhaps fit in another actual Talon who is good at murder, and that's basically what's happening, because she was in the last list used on the channel, but so was the Court, and that meant that the 1880s Talon couldn't fit in. But remove the Court, put her as the leader, and you can have an extra double blood sword killy unit on the table, which seems good to me. So along with her we have Strix, we have the Talon, Gotham Butcher, and Dementor. There's a plethora of upgrades. Let's see if I can remember them. He's got a grapple gun. They both have genetic alteration and camo cloaks. I think those two have camo cloaks. Butcher definitely does, because it's to help him get in there. Genetic alteration on the Talon as well, that gives them fast for a couple of extra inches of movement. And I think that's it. I think so. Got the list up on computer in the corner there though, so it'll be remembered during gameplay. It's just hard to go over this. And with their new objective deck again comes the Owl markers, so they'll be placed at the start of the game, and if anyone is removed as a casualty you can move one of them 4 inches, and they're desperately required for marking targets as prey. And here is the Joker crew being led by the Back to Gotham Joker. Free Agent Killer Croc coming along. He'll be starting adjacent to a sewer marker if he wants to at the start of the game. We have Panda Man with his sniper rifle. He has the neurotropic drugs, which give him fast and dodge just because that's hilarious. Thug 6 from the Back to Gotham box. Whiteface with an extra magazine for his blunderbuss. And then these are all from the old Joker box set. And this is Buffoon with his nail gun. And Dynamite with the ability to explodinate himself. So that is, how many miniatures is this? There's 2, 4, 6, 7, I think it's 7 miniatures. No, the Court of Owls have 6. So they'll be getting 1 pass marker when the game starts. But we'll get both teams set up and go over the table. So both crews are set up. Joker's crew is on your left, the Court of Owls is on the right, and it is the Court going first. However, we do have some cards to go over. Killer Croc opted not to start the game in adjacency to a sewer marker because they're all pretty exposed and within reach of the Court. And the reason for that is that a turn 1 Die Hard is being played on his person, so if he is still alive at the end of the turn, that's 2 points for Joker's crew. But a phase 2 card is being played by the Court called Gotham is Ours, which I think we saw in their first showing. So the Court of Owls player targets 2 scenery elements and places a suspect marker within 4 of each. Then the opponent picks one and you place a suspect marker within 4 of that as well. If at the end of the round you have at least 1 suspect marker within 4 of all 3 elements, you score the card. Not super likely, especially in turn 1, but it's a way to get suspect markers out there without wasting activations and manipulates placing them to make marking people as prey easier. So this shipping container was selected, suspect marker put there. The rock there was selected, which you can't quite see because of the tree, but it was placed within there. And then Joker picked the dumpster at the back of this building, so that's obviously you could just walk over, reel it, and then that card isn't going to score. But again, it was more so for getting suspect markers down in areas where combat was likely. Speaking of which, the Owls have been placed there, there, and behind that lamp. So they're in prime position to hopefully actually use the prey mechanic for a change. Joker's crew is set up as you can see them in a line here, except Panda Man, who could deploy up in the building. Again, we're just doing the 8 inches in from each side. Croc has Audacity, Buffoon, Joker, and Whiteface. And then over here, the Talon and Dementor have Audacity here. Everyone else somehow managed to fit in this car at some point apparently, and have just come out of it. So only Strix and the 1880s Talon over here have it. The Gotham Butcher and the High Court Drunkard do not. And with that, we are ready to get started. So the Gotham Butcher got the game started. He didn't have Audacity and he's a free agent, so no free manipulate from starting next to the Drunkard. But he moved forward, didn't take advantage of the fast giving him a few extra inches. He wanted to be blocked by the tree even though he has a camo vest, just so he's obscured, has a little bit of cover. Now he did play a Gotham is Ours as a resource, move 1 marker in play 4 inches. and if you're doing it within a certain distance of someone marked as prey, you can move it 8 instead. Now it just says marker, so presumably that's every type of marker. Event markers, L markers, riddle markers, suspect markers. That might be wrong, but it doesn't clarify. So we're taking it at face value and assuming that this marker is allowed to be moved 4 inches, so it's harder to get to. Someone's going to have to waste their full turn going around to remove it now, which gives the other Gotham is Ours an actual chance to score. First up for Joker's crew was Buffoon, although first I mention that yes, we're aware that you don't need to have Audacity on henchmen and whatnot. With the Joker crew, you can assign it at the point in which they activate, as long as they're not like a free agent like Killer Croc, etc. This is just to show clarity for the video, but they obviously can be moved around via the Trickster trait if they haven't been used. It's just, again, to help with the visual of the video, but yes, you don't have to have them next to henchmen and whatnot if they have the Trickster trait, thanks to Joker's Chaos Agent. Anyway, Buffoon moved forward. He used his free manipulate from starting close to Joker to put down a stinky fish, or sorry, it was a suspect marker, but in fact it was not. It was a stinky fish. It's now in play, and it does put him dangerously close to an owl and a suspect marker, but there wasn't really any way to avoid it if he also wanted to do the putting down a suspect marker, because you have to get out your deployment. So that was actually quite a nice pincer with having the 2 parts there. Anyway, because he used his free manipulate to put that down, he also still had a tactical action, so he shot his nail gun at the accidentally illuminated Gotham Butcher, and did pretty well with it, honestly. His roll was pretty good. He got 3 blood on him, which is kind of nasty. So Strix was activated, but first of all, a Talon's Claw was played as a free resource, and this is the one where you remove a suspect marker, and an enemy within 4 inches of the friendly suspect marker, and an L marker is marked as prey. So Buffoon was marked as prey, and Strix went after him thanks to her being an acrobat, 10 inches base, and the fast to upgrade from genetic alteration. She ran there, she is illuminated by the light, but she wanted to throw throwing knives at him, and she did rather, and got him with all 3 for 3 blood. He does have 4 health though, so he's alive, and he doesn't need to die this turn, he just needs to die in general, being marked as prey, but he's now hurting. Killer Croc activated with Audacity. He came around the side of the building here and removed the suspect marker that is marked by the dumpster, basically meaning that Gotham is Ours will not score, because I don't think anyone can get over there. Did use up his turn though, but it's also keeping him safe because he's the one who's marked by Die Hard. And also, in doing so, scored a So Long It's Been a Gas, the second part of the potential way to score this card, assuming that's in focus, I hope it is. When a friendly model reveals an enemy suspect marker, choose one of your models, place a friendly suspect marker in contact with them, and then they suffer enervating 2. It doesn't say whether or not you adhere to the normal rules of placement. It doesn't specify one way or the other, so presumably, even though he's in deployment, it's okay that Panda Man has now put down a suspect marker. He's got enervating 2, so he's only got 1 effort. Next time he can effort, it probably won't matter. But hopefully that's right. Again, doesn't clarify one way or the other, sadly. The 1880s Talon activated next for the court with Audacity. She's just as fast as Strix and just as deadly as well. But she went over here, and for her tactical action she destroyed the lamppost by smacking it. She's a henchman, so she had a free manipulate from starting next to a drunkard over there as well. So she put down a suspect marker. Dynamite was next up for Joker's crew. He didn't take Audacity, he just moved, and then using his free manipulate put down a suspect marker that has become Bite the Dust. Explosive Teeth, you roll 1d6, and then at every activation after this one, it moves 1d6 towards whoever activated at 0. Explosive template over it, and if it hurts anybody, it does single blood and will score. Now, however, he rolled a 1, so after whoever goes next, it moves and then explodes. So the only way this is probably going to score is if he rolls a 1 or rolls a 1 towards whoever activates, then the template might still cover him. The Mentor, who was next to the Talon over there on the edge of the table, he has Unstoppable Monster. He activated, he has to move forwards 2 inches before anything else, and then he has 10, which gave him more than enough to slip down here, and then using his Audacity put down his suspect marker. The Exploding Teeth went 4 inches towards him, so it would be roughly a 2-inch radius there. It's definitely not catching anybody, so the teeth are gone, and that Bite the Dust does not score. The Deadly Panda Man activated from where he was perched. Now you can only shoot at targets who either have stealth or are beyond visible range, so either way he's losing 2 dice. He opted to shoot at Strix, because even though Strix and the 1880s Talon have Acrobat, he has a Silencer, so they don't get to dodge. And he has a red dot as well, so you can reroll one of the misses. Of the 2 bullets, even with the reroll though, 1 got through, so Strix did take 2 blood and 1 stun from his shot. The High Court Lady was the second last activation for Battle Round 1 for the court. She moves an amazing 6 inches and did not have Audacity. She also listed a little bit to the side, then the other side, and then back to the middle, kind of making sure she doesn't fall over. But she just kind of wandered up there behind the Gotham Butcher and did nothing else. Thug 6 activated without Audacity, but close enough to Joker to have a manipulate and didn't take Audacity from Whiteface. Seasoning the Mix was played as a resource for 1 that refuses to ever be in focus. There we go. The start of this model's activation, move up to 2 friendly suspect markers 4 inches. The Stinky Fish was moved such that with a slow 8 inches, Thug 6 could move up there, put down another suspect marker, just have another one in play. Last activation for the Court of Owls in Battle Round 1 was the Talon himself, William Cobb. He moved up to where you can see him and did nothing else. He couldn't put down a suspect marker because there was one right there. He does have throwing knives now as per his updated rules, but just outside of 8, and Dynamite is... he's technically still could have, but he's holding on to them. It's not going to be a very high scoring round for the court in the first battle round, but there's things in place for the future. It's over to Joker and Whiteface to end off the turn. So the Court of Owls aren't the only ones with plans within plans. Whiteface went up and revealed the suspect marker that Thug 6 put down, and it became a let them do their thing, which will hopefully be in focus in a second. Any second. That looks like it's almost there. So you reveal send friendly suspect marker, place the explosive template over it, pick a direction, move it 2d6. It does double stun to anyone under it, friend or foe. If it hits anybody, it scores for 2. Pointed it towards Strix and the 1880s Talon. It only caught the 1818's Talon, so she has taken 2 stun, but that was enough for that to score for 2 victory points. And for Joker's activation, all he did was move up between his bodyguard, henchman, and Dynamite. Didn't do anything else, didn't want to waste his bullets yet, and couldn't put down a suspect marker. Well, he might have been able to, but he chose not to, and that takes us to the end of Battle Round 1. So at the end of Battle Round 1, everybody who had stun damage is healing 1 stun, but remember the new reanimated owl rule for the Court of Owls, so they can all choose another damage type to heal, so they can heal another stun, or they can heal another blood. With the exception of the 1880s Talon, everybody chose 1 blood damage to heal, so I think Strix only has 1 blood left on her now, Gotham Butcher's only got 2 blood on him, and 1880s Talon is fully healed. So there is that, but the only card they had in play, which was the Gotham is Ours, did not score thanks to Killer Croc, so that is discarded, meaning that the Court of Owls scored nothing in their first turn, unfortunately, although they are on their way to killing someone marked as prey. The Die Hard scores, because Killer Croc survived, as does the It Doesn't Look Fresh, because nobody revealed it. So with that, we're going into Battle Round 2. So here's how things are looking at the top of turn 2. It is the Court of Owls who will be getting first activation again, and they are playing 2 Phase 1 cards, one of which is only in play for the round, and the other one is in play till it happens. So the first one being played is Terrible Accident. Once it's in focus. The current enemy boss or the model with the highest reputation is not in the gaming area. So that means if Joker or Killer Croc are not on the table at the end of the round, that will score. The other card being played is The Mission, which is William Cobb's unique, the Talons. Target a model with the reanimated owl trait. That model removes the current enemy boss or model with the highest reputation cost from the gaming area, but that is in play until it happens, or I guess until the person you selected dies. So that is the 1880s Talon. She can either kill Killer Croc or Joker in this round or another, and that will score that card. No cards being played in Phase 1 or Phase 2 for Joker's crew, so we are just jumping straight into the second round. So first up for the second battle round rather, was Strix. She didn't have Audacity. Audacity is hard to pick with this list, that's the problem with it. But she just wanted to chuck more throwing knives, and she did so at Buffoon. Got 2 through for 2 blood. Buffoon is removed, and he was marked as prey. Incidentally, she has rapid fire and totally could have killed him in the first turn, but that was a mistake that was missed. But that does mean that Talon's Claw can score, remove an enemy model marked as prey, which he has been, and he is dead, and will not be getting a turn, obviously. And finally, the court can start turning things around. They're on the scoreboard. We'll cover Joker's crew's first activation in a second. Forgot to mention though, because Buffoon was removed as a casualty, an owl marker can be moved 4 inches, or up to 4 inches. So the one that was next to the 1880s Talon has been moved back ever so slightly. As for Joker's crew, Dynamite activated and moved close to a Talon, such that he wasn't in base to base, but he was outside of 4, so that he can't be marked as prey by the suspect marker that's sitting there. Put down a suspect marker of his own, and scored a let them in on the joke. So a model with the Trickster trait, which Joker gives all his henchmen Trickster, places a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy model, and then when you score the card, both sides discard a card. which mills decks whether you like it or not. The Gotham Butcher peeled round the corner with audacity into base to base with Whiteface and attacked him for a whole bunch of damage. Whiteface did not put up any efforts against the blood-stun claws of the Butcher. He did 2 though, which I forgot to put down there, so he'll have 2 stun on him, and as you can see, he did 6 blood, 6 stun for 6 hits through on the defense 2 Whiteface, removing him. He's a 5/5 miniature, so he is gone. And oh well, played during his turn, although not relevant to the kill he got. The court's secure bases was put into place. So you pick one of the hour markers. At the end of every enemy model's activation, if there's no one within 4 of it, you add 1, and when it gets to 3, you score the card. The one that had been moved further back is the one that is marked. So the Gotham Butcher also has the Murderer rule, which has been updated since the release of Zaz. He gets +1 free effort, +1 movement distance, and he selects a miniature within 4. He is selecting the guy who's going to bodyguard for Joker, and he suffers the Scared effect. So while serving as his role as ablative health for Joker, Thug 6 activated and did nothing else but put down a suspect marker, and it is outside of 10 inches of the deployment back here, so it has become a stinky fish, as you can see. So it's in play, and well, it remains a stinky fish forever, but if it's still there at the end of the round, it will score for them. Dementor was next up for the Court of Owls, and he had been hiding behind here. He has to move 2 inches for Unstoppable Monster. Then he made use of his grapple gun he was given in equipment to hook his way up here, and with sneak attack, meaning that he couldn't effort, although he had enervating 2 anyway, so he couldn't effort at all, unleashed his blood stun sickle on Panda Man for 6 blood, 6 stun. The panda has left the building. Didn't score any cards off of it, but did remove another threat that hadn't activated yet. Oh, and didn't mention it, but after the first enemy activation, that obviously counted up to 1, and in a second it's going to count up to 2 unless somebody gets within 4 inches of it. Joker activated and didn't move very far. He attacked the Gotham Butcher, not intending to do a lot of damage, but wanting to get the poison through on his poison knife. He efforted once, the Gotham Butcher did not, and Joker rolled amazingly well, and he's only doing blood damage, so the huge taking away double stun doesn't matter. So he did 5 damage and did inflict the poison, which in turn scored a "I'm feeling weird" for inflicting an effect, because poison is an effect. So that is 2 points. And the Butcher, I think, has 2 health left, because he got +1 health when he was updated, which puts him at 9, I want to say. So he's alive, but there's no way normally the Joker would do that much damage to him. That was just an insanely lucky roll of lots of 5s and 6s. The Talon activated, who had been in front of Dynamite over there. However, first of all, just doing a small correction, did not count up correctly for the Gotham Butcher. He actually didn't take as much damage. He took 1 less than seen, so he has 1 more health than stated. Anyway, Talon moved into the back of Joker's bodyguard, Thug 6. That is not in focus. Let's try that and hope that it works. There we go. Well, getting there. They both efforted the full 3 times, and remember the Owl Knives have crushing now, so you need 2 successful blocks to get 1 dispelled. Not dispelled is the wrong word. Blocked fully. He did 3 blood. I think the bodyguard has 4 health, so he's alive, which is annoying because needed him removed so the Joker wasn't able to like pass wounds off onto him. Killer Croc activated, and sadly his 8 inches of movement was not enough to get into base to base with Strix to try and devour her, so instead he moved behind the car there, put down a suspect marker, and it became another set of explosive teeth with another Bite the Dust being played, and once again a 1 got rolled, so after whoever next activates, they're going to move towards him and explode and do blood damage. If it hits a friendly, that's fine as well. It might hit Strix, it depends. And on that note, with his activation, this will also tick up to 3, and the court secures their bases will score. So it's just court activations left, and we're going to cover the 1880s Talon. Knowing that Joker can just pass off wounds to his bodyguard, she instead went after Killer Croc on the fool's errand that she could kill him. Both of them efforted full 3 times. She actually did manage to get 2 hits through for 4 blood. Also, the Joker teeth then exploded on both of them, so that's just going to flip for Killer Croc. So he actually took 5 damage in total of his 14 health. Or 13, I get him in... yeah, it's 13, I get him and Solomon Grundy confused. And the 1980s, or 1880s Talon has also taken 1 damage, so she's got that on her stat card already. And now it's over to the Drunkard to end the turn, and she doesn't have Audacity, so I'm sure she'll be doing a lot. So the High Court Lady has activated, but I forgot to mention at the end of the 1880s Talon turn, she also played another The Court Secures Her Bases. It's being played on the exact same L. It obviously won't score this turn. It'll start ticking up next turn, but that is in play. And also, when Pandaman died, no L marker was moved, so the one that was here has been moved over there. So this is potentially a Marcus Prey type situation here. As for the High Court Lady, she didn't have audacity. She went over to the bin in the L marker, presumably to throw up in the bin, and did nothing else. So that does take us to the end of Battle Round 2. So at the end of Battle Round 2, Joker's crew has suffered heavy casualties, but is way ahead in points. And that lead is growing because I forgot to cover, obviously, well, I think I said the Bite the Dust scored, but just showing the card it has scored. And then so did the second Stinky Fish. And as for the court, the new secure bases is in play. The Terrible Accident, however, did not score because that runs out at the end of the round, so it's gone. The other one, though, for 1880's Talon doing it, just stays in play unless she dies. So that is still potentially scoreable. So at the top of round 3, it's the Court of Owls getting first activation again. The one thing they've been getting right is rolling well on the Take the Lead. So there is multiple Phase 1 and Phase 2 cards being played. Showtime is being played by Joker. This is the new wording for his card as well, which is worth pausing and reading once it's in focus. I think that's getting there, hopefully. You roll 1d3 plus 2, and that's how many enemy suspect markers within 18 you put into base-to-base with him. And if he's alive at the end of a turn and he has at least one of them in base-to-base with him, you score the card for an amazing 3. There was only 2 within range, so they have now been drawn into him. If he dies this turn, it's going to be irrelevant, but it's still a way for him to potentially score some points, and he still does have the bodyguard as well next to him. For the Court of Owls, though, they've got a bunch of cards. First of all, their Die Hard is being played, and it is being played on Dementor up there, because he's basically safe. Then another Terrible Accident is being played, so we've seen that, same as last time. Going after either Killer Croc or the Joker. So that's in play. And then we have Owl's Knight. So this is in play till the end of the round. When a model is removed as a casualty, you place a marker on this. 1 if it's a normal kill, 3 if it's a prey. And at the end of the round, if you have more markers on this than there are enemy suspect markers in play, you score the card. There's currently 2 Stinky Fish in play for Joker's crew, because the rest were exploding teeth and whatnot. So if they can get 3 markers on this card, barring any other that's being placed down, they will score that card. So the Gotham Butcher activated and wanted to take out Joker, but of course once the hits were worked out, Thug 6 used his 1 effort to take the blows instead. 3 blood, 3 stun, he is removed. So the Joker crew only has 3 people left. Obviously they're way ahead in points, but they're a little bit thin on the ground now, and that does put 1 marker on the Owl's Knight card as well. Joker activated with somewhat limited options because he wants to stay in base-to-base with those suspect markers. He used his poison knife on the Butcher to try and finish him off, but his rolls were much worse this time. He only did 1. He did worsen the poison on him to level 2, but I don't think it matters until level 4, maybe 3. Either way, he then backed off, but in such a way that he's still touching those 2 suspect markers. So with Joker's activation, a 1 has ticked up on that card for the Court secures their bases. The High Court Lady activated with audacity. She went over here in the face of Killer Croc and put down a suspect marker to actually make use of herself and score the Shadow's Claw by placing a suspect marker within 4 inches of an enemy model that has at least 1 blood on it. And Killer Croc has a bunch of blood on him, 4 I think, or 4 or 5. So that scored, and then she also played as a resource Talon's Claw to choose an enemy model within 4 of an Owl marker and an enemy suspect. Thanks to Joker pulling those in, he's within 4 of that Owl over there, so Joker is now marked as prey. Dynamite activated with audacity and came up behind the Talon, put down a suspect marker rather than attacking, and that scored another. Let them in on the joke, and the joke is that they're way ahead in points and the Court has barely anything. But that's for putting a suspect marker within 4 of an enemy model if you have a Trickster trait, which he does thanks to Joker still being alive, and both players discard a card at random. So the 1880s Talon activated and again did 3 efforts. Killer Croc did 3 efforts, and you can just see the damage she did there. She only got 1 hit through for 2 more blood, so he is very much still alive. She also played an objective card that doesn't affect him, it affects Joker. The Owl's Labyrinth. Target an enemy model marked as prey. If the model does not move during its next activation, it suffers Enervating 2. If it does move, you score this card. So if in the final turn of the game, if Joker moves, it will score 2 points. So Killer Croc was the last to activate for Joker's crew this turn. He went all in on the 1880s Talon, got 3 hits through with his claw, 3 blood, 3 stun, not enough to kill her, but enough to knock her out. He then hopped the car, so he's just within 4, so that's not going to tick up, and he would need to be removed for that to happen. But the Court of Owls still have Strix, and they still have the Talon. So for Strix's activation, she of course went for Killer Croc. She efforted full 3 times. He's spent, as far as that goes, she did 10 damage with her combo katanas, overwhelming, sharp, etc, etc. His defense roll was garbage. Killer Croc is gone. Now that does a bunch of stuff to various objective cards, so we're going to have to come over here for a second. This ticks up to 2 for number of people murdered. He wasn't prey though. That doesn't tick up still because an enemy has to activate. This is no longer possible to score because the 1880s Talon can't kill the highest rep or boss. However, terrible accident. It doesn't happen till the end of the round, but we'll do it now just to cover that it does happen. It wasn't the enemy boss, but it was the one who was worth the highest reputation. So that scored. Everything else is still in play, and we just have the Talon to go. So all the Talon could do was move into base-to-base with Joker and reveal the other suspect marker to make Showtime not score. So that's now gone. There was no way to make Owl's Knight score thanks to Dynamite putting down that suspect marker. Now I had forgotten that Dementor hadn't activated. He doesn't have Audacity, and he'd suffer impaired movement to try and climb down the building. Or fall down rather, he doesn't have climbing claws. So he's just going to stay up there and he can just use his grapple on the final turn to do something. But yeah, that's a shame because that means Owl's Knight's not going to score, but we can cover that properly in the recap. So at the end of the penultimate battle round, we're actually already set up for the next one. Forgot to do a recap of the turn because we covered it partially in the last clip. Showtime did not score, however, Die Hard for the Court of Owls did because Dementor was totally fine, so that did score. The Owl's Labyrinth is still in effect, so if Joker moves on his turn, that will score. And the Court's bases also will score as soon as Dynamite or Joker activates if they don't end within 4 of that either. The 1880s Talon is not waking up, so they will not be getting a turn in the final battle round, unfortunately. But we can cover what cards are being played in that right now. So the Court of Owls have managed to retain first activation in every single battle round of the game. They are playing another Terrible Accident, so it only counts for Joker now because there's no one higher than his reputation cost. So that is just in play. And then another Owl's Knight is, which I don't think is possible for it to score because of how many enemy... Well, there's 3 enemy suspect markers, and at best they could get 2 kills and table the Joker's crew. Although I guess they can remove some suspect markers. Oh, but Joker's marked as prey, so he's worth 3 actually. Totally forgot that. Joker and Dynamite are the last 2 survivors of their crew, so obviously they both have Audacity regardless of what happens. Dementor has it, the Talon has it, Strix has it, and who else has it? So I think there's one missing, isn't there? 1, 2, 3... Yes, so either the Gotham Butcher or High Court Lady will get it. Probably, let's say the Gotham Butcher. So Strix was up first for the court in the final battle round. Oh, I erroneously called her katanas combo katanas earlier. They're called paired katanas, just to be clear, not combo. Clearing that up because combo is a rule, but they're called paired katanas and they don't actually have that rule. Just so we're clear. So she went after Joker, they both efforted a full 3 times, and sadly only the strength die got through for 2 blood on him, so he's got 6 health left. She then used the free manipulate from the Inspire from being next to the High Court Lady when she started her activation to put down a suspect marker and score the Shadow's Claw for putting it within 4 of someone who has at least 1 blood on them. So the Joker activated and ran away bravely, but not before playing They Must Know Pain as a resource to heal himself for the 2 blood damage. So he's back up to 8 health. He fled over here, he shot his gun at the Talon and missed. Shot at the Butcher and missed. And is right next to Dynamite. He did nothing else. Now that does proc a few things. If we come back around here, the Owl will proc up to 3, which means that the Court secures their bases, has scored. Well, we've seen that card, it doesn't matter if it's in focus or not. And because he moved, he triggered the Owl's Labyrinth, basically deciding that they're ahead by enough that it doesn't matter, and wants to try and preserve his life. So the Owl's Labyrinth has scored as well, so that's 4 points for the court. So the next activation was the High Court Lady, which might be a little bit confusing. There was in fact one more of the court secures their bases, and it was played as a free resource. Place a friendly model immediately in contact with a sewer marker that's within 4 of an enemy marked as prey, which I don't think was in focus, but trust me, that's what it said. So, in a drunken stupor, she just waddled out of the sewer grating right behind Joker, like, "Oh, you forget about me, funny man?" Who's laughing now? Now, she doesn't have Audacity, and rather than fire her gun and probably not kill him, because I think if it did max damage it still wouldn't kill him, she instead used a special action for boss's orders, so if anybody else attacks him within, as long as he's within 8 of her, so I guess Dynamite could technically kill her, but we'll see how that goes. They'll get +1 to attack rolls against Joker, essentially making him defense 3, which should hopefully mean he dies easier. So Dynamite did not in fact go try and kill the drunk lady, he instead came over here, put down a suspect marker, and it turned into the final It Doesn't Look Fresh Stinky Fish, which is obviously another potential 2 points if that isn't removed by the end of the turn, and also makes it harder for Owl's Knight to score as well. So it is just Court of Owl activations to take us to the end of the game. The Butcher was the first up. He went into base to base with Joker. He spent 3 effort, although I forgot he actually has 2 free efforts from previous murder, so that should only just be 1 stun damage he did to himself. Joker did not, because he's doing blood stun with his claws. Only the strength die got through for 1 blood, 1 stun, which ain't great, but it was a crit, so Joker is knocked down, so he's counting as 1 less defense. And with the +1 bonus from the drunk lady behind him, he's essentially defense 2 now, so things are looking up. So it was the Talon's turn to get at the Joker, which is not in focus. Give it a second, it'll realise what's... There we go. He also efforted full 3 times. The Joker took an amazing 6 blood from the bevy of overwhelming attacks, but it is not enough to kill him. He has 1 health remaining, and that's bad, because yes, Dementor can now go down there and probably kill him, but had the Talon done enough, he could have went after that stinky fish and stopped that scoring, but as such, he's going to have to go finish off the unkillable clown. So yeah, Dementor used the grapple gun to hop down there. He actually only got 2 hits through on Joker, but that's more than enough to do 2 blood, 2 stun, and remove him. Also, I'm not sure if my door just went, so we'll do a quick cut there. Alright, it was just a leaflet coming through the door. So anyway, as we were saying, Joker, the Crown Prince of Grime, has been murdered. I'm choosing to believe that it was because of the drunk lady. And as a result, at the end of that battle round, Terrible Accident scores again for 3 victory points. However, It Doesn't Look Fresh scored for 2 for the Joker's crew. And Owl's Knight does not score. It would have had... wait, hang on. It would have had 3 markers on it for Joker dying. No, but they've got 1... 2, 3. It was a draw. If Dynamite had been killed, that would have scored. That's a great shame. Or if Talon had killed Joker, Dementor could have came down here and just removed that and it would have scored. I don't think it's a swing of 3 is going to be the problem here, but let's see. So we're going to count up the final scores, but first of all, Sora, you want a cameo? She's kind of looking. You. It's fine, don't worry. She'll get attention in a second. That was a rough one for the Court of Owls from a scoring perspective. Didn't that happen last time against the League as well? Like, they won in terms of, like, murderizing, but not in terms of points. Although I might be wrong, the ending piles aren't that much different in size. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 on the dot. Incidentally, their final hand did have viable commodities, couldn't play it on the final turn, so that was 3 points wasted. I think that was it for neutral cards though. Anyway, Joker's crew 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Oh no, wait, it was actually a draw. Oh, I had no idea. Okay, I actually ended up much closer than I thought. I thought the Court of Owls had just been stomped there, but it was a 20-20 draw. And for the record, Joker's final hand had expendables in it, so if anyone had just pointlessly killed Dynamite that turn, he would have given away 1. Actually, I wonder, where is their hand? I just want to check something. Let's see what the expendable card says. When a friendly model with a trickster trait is removed as a casualty or becomes KO. Oh no! You know what he could have done, because Dynamite can blow himself up for a free action. He could have deliberately, once he'd placed the stinky... Oh no, you can't play a second card. Never mind. Whoa, did he go before Joker? No, but he has to blow up on his turn. I was just trying to think, is there a way that he could have played the Stinky Fish and Expendables? Because if yes, that would have been a swing of 1 point. But he played the Stinky Fish on his turn. You can only play 1 phase 3 card. If he'd went first, I don't think Joker's allowed to trigger his suicide ability. So probably not. Where's his card? Dynamite. Boom. Each time this oh no, that's if he gets hit, he has a chance to explode. Alternatively, during its activation. Okay. So, he would have had to activate. which means Joker would have had to put down the stinky fish. But Joker could have, instead of shooting pointlessly and missing, because there was enough room there to put down a suspect marker. So if that had been done in a different way, Joker put down the stinky fish, Dynamite walks into the owls or just walks off into a corner, blows himself up for no reason, that 1 point actually would have swung it. Because I thought Joker's crew had this easy, but I keep forgetting all of Joker's cards, for the most part, except with one exception I think, or two counting this one, are worth 2 points each, whereas yes, owl cards were scoring less, but a few of them are worth 3. And they came close to scoring a few more cards that would have made it a bigger swing, like the Owl Knight that almost scored, and one of the other ones as well that I've forgotten. So that was a lot closer than I thought. I thought, yes, they're murdering everyone easily, but they've definitely lost on points by like the end of turn 2. But no, it was closer than I thought. So I hope you enjoyed this one. It was not the outcome I thought. A draw is rare in these videos anyway. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the future for more. Ta-ta for now.